So aloha everyone. Welcome to the live stream. And my mic is on, the video's on. It looks like we gotta go. And okay, that's okay. Okay, that's great. Okay, so if you could put down your human design type if you know it, and your profile and your astro information if you want to. It's a good way to connect with others. And if you don't know that, just always go into my information box and you'll see a link to get your free chart. So yesterday the live stream started. I think we probably got about 20 minutes in or something, and the power went out. So the power went out for a couple hours and just in this area that I live in. So interesting timing, but I trust that this was when we were supposed to have the our live stream. Okay, so I'm seeing people here. Great. Um, okay. So this is the chart for the soul that we're going to be talking about the solar eclipse. And remember that the lunar eclipse is happening on the 24th in my neck of the woods and the 25th on the mainland. So just check out the time, right, where that's going to occur for you in your time zone. So just a quick review of the lunar eclipse, and that was my last video. I did a live stream on the lunar eclipse. And remember that the moon was activating the 18th gate, if you see right here, right? That comes off the spleen. And the 18th gate in terms of this lunar eclipse. So lunar eclipse is something that you're releasing and it's fated. So if you don't consciously release it yourself, the universe will come in, the divine will come in and intervene for you. So you're probably knowing what that is right now. So this 18 is connected to it's fixing, right? It's fixing, it's realizing that I can't fix these relationships, a relationship or relationships. That person is not going to change. And it's that realization that they'll never, ever change. And that you need to pull your power back, pull your energy back and stop investing, like emotionally investing, mentally investing with worry and fretting, and financially investing, like pouring money on this and just walking away. So that's a real theme of the lunar eclipse. And the theme overall is all about our relationships. And also if you are in a relationship, it doesn't necessarily like you walk away from that person, but you're going to walk away from those dynamics, right? And so remember, in relationships, it's a mirror. It's a mirror. So when you shift and change and evolve, and that other person is like, forget it. I'm not, it's too hard. I'm not interested in doing this work, right? I'm not interested in walking my spiritual path in this incarnation. Well, then the mirror will shift and that person will just be off, right? They either have to change with you or they go, right? And what happens is you're making room for the new, right? The new that comes in, those new relationships that come in that are much more aligned with you and your destiny. These are your dharma mates, not the karma mates that I talked about in the last video, right? And it's also letting go of where you sell yourself short in relationship. And what makes it an eclipse is that it's so close to this to the south node, right? And the south node for the lunar eclipse is in this 57.1, which is in Libra. And the shadow of Libra can be the prostitute, right? So it doesn't matter if you're male or female. And it's prostituting yourself in relationship, which means to sell yourself short, right? So it's this is about stop being nice. Nice is not a word, right? And not a good word to be called. You don't want that on your epitaph, right? On when you die, she was really nice, right? What is that? That's code for she was a doormat, right? She was a people pleaser doormat. So you don't want to, you want to let go of this. You want to let go of this political correctness stuff, right? Censoring yourself, being the doormat, trying not to upset anybody, not to rock the boat. You want to let go of all of these dynamics. And the solar eclipse is going to help you with that, right? So letting go of the shadow of Libra and you're embracing more the Aries, right? So this is just briefly, right? You can freeze this when you watch it later and go through this more thoroughly. So denying your feelings, right? That's a big one. You want to let go of that. Masking your pain, not being able to make your own decisions. You got to call all your friends, or you want to call that relationship that the lunar eclipse is going to take away. Let them make the decision for me. Let that go. It's all about becoming self-reliant, right? For this new age, right? So overly focused on others, like looking for people to save, right? Workaholism, never good enough, self-talk, right? Your self-talk, overly critical of what you think, say, or do. It's never good enough. Going over conversations in your head that you've had with people. I should have said that. Why did I say this? Valuing other people's voices more than your own, unable to identify. Not only I can't identify what I need and want, but I won't even ask for what I need and want if I know, right? You want to let go of these dynamics, looking to others to provide you your sense of safety, difficulty making a commitment to yourself. You can make commitments up and down for other people, but not to yourself. Trouble setting boundaries, right? And setting priorities, setting yourself as a priority. Do anything to avoid change, like betraying yourself, hiding behind your partner, taking on their dream, taking on their dream. You don't even know what your dream is. It's like, I'm just going to tag along with my partner's dream. Or if you're not in a relationship, obsessed with finding a partner, right? If you're single. So this is what all the stuff you want to let go of for this eclipse season. And I want to remind people, especially if you're new to my channel, because I'm all about the future and I'm all about evolution and I'm all about these global cycles that we're in. So you can see all these dates. Well, this is the evolutionary direction of humanity towards oneness. So all these colors, they're called epochs, right? So this is like 16,000 years ago, right? They're all epochs. So we're in the last epoch of the evolution of humanity right now, the cross of the vessel of love. And within each epoch are these 400-year cycles. So look at here, right? We've been in a cycle in the last epoch from 1615 to 2026. We've been in the cross of planning, and this is what I talk about in my videos. And then in 2027, right, we move into the cross of the sleeping phoenix, right? So this is what we're seeing. We're seeing the cross of planning breaking down. All of these institutions are breaking down, and this is part of this evolutionary force that's pushing us into our evolution and ultimately into oneness, right? So if you leave anything, like if you leave my video right now, I want you to know that you have to be your authentic self. That's non-negotiable right now. That's the only thing that's going to get you through this time, is committing to be your authentic self. And this is an opportunity. It's a window of time until 2027, right? It's said, human design says after that, we won't have access to this kind of knowledge. So I don't know what that will look like. Maybe the internet will go down permanently. We don't know, right? But that's what's said. So it's a pressure these next 3 years, right? To really, really know yourself, especially if you're a manifesting generator or a generator. Out of all the types, you're the ones that have to know themselves the most. You have to know who you are so that you can be your unique, differentiated self, maybe for the first time in all of your lifetimes, right? So that's a reminder of that, just to put everything in context for you. And let's move into the solar eclipse, right? So the solar eclipse, these are fated events. So this is April 8th. So I'm doing this kind of really early for me because I feel, well, intuitively, I feel like it's important to get this information out now so that you can prepare. So remember, with the lunar eclipse, anything that's going, leaving, It's all for your highest and best good, no matter how painful. Maybe it will cause some pain and suffering, especially separation from certain people that you always thought you'd be together side by side. And it's like grieving, you're grieving the future expectations, the future dreams you had together, right? But know ultimately that this is all for your highest good, right? Because you're here on this planet for a reason. You're a soul having human experiences and you're evolving. You're evolving. So remember that. Remember your true identity. Okay, so this is the solar eclipse. So that's going to be taking place on April 8th. And this is huge. And you may have noticed in the news, they're canceling schools and things like that, right? They're telling people to stock up on food, right? For a couple weeks, all about this solar eclipse. I've never seen anything like this before about the eclipse. So not to scare you, but there's something big going on in the consciousness right now. So eclipses, they're fated events, and it's basically divine intervention. This is divine intervention, and it's to get humanity. If we look at it from the collective perspective, it's to get us going in the right direction in terms of our evolution. So it's filled with divine energy, solar eclipses, and it's all fated. It's all fated. And it's something that we can't really control, right? So these solar eclipses, they ripple. So it's a shock wave. The shock waves go for 3 years, for 3 years. So look at the last one. This is interesting, right? The line in August 21st, 2017. Look back at that time, right? So there was the eclipse moving through this line. And then April 8th, 2024, it's moving through this line, going through the United States to make X, the X mark here. So it's the prophecy is that the United States, the Americans, are the ones that will lead the rest of the world into the Aquarian age. So what does this say? This says massive awakening of people that have been on the fence. People are like, well, I dabble in my spirituality, but I'm still in the material world, and I still like the Maya, and I like, you're right. I'm still like indulging in the Maya, and then kind of, back and forth, sitting on the fence, not really making a choice. Well, the solar eclipse is like the shaking people awake, basically. And the ones that have not been doing, like they've been just completely indulging in the Maya and completely unconscious, they're going to go through a rough time through these next 3 years, right? And look what the next 3 years take us to 2027. So this is preparing us for 2027 for this great shift, this 400-year shift. So people have to really start to make a choice. So they're either going to choose consciously, yes, I'm consciously going to be committed to my spiritual journey, to my spiritual development. I'm not going to give so much power over to the external, into money, into the material world, into my relationships, because that's a big theme. I'm going to really bring that focus back to me and my spirit, and my spirituality. That's the awakening. I'm really going to be committed to be my authentic self in this lifetime. Right. So you want to be prepared. If you're watching my channel, you are a leader and a healer, right? Especially if you're a projector or six line profile, leader, healer, teacher, then you want to be ready. You want to be ready for these people when they start coming, because they're going to start coming to you for guidance and help, right? On their spiritual journey, and to do all this inner work that they have to do. So, and then look at 2017, what happened? What was 3 years after that? Well, that's 2020, isn't it? So the 2017 was preparing us for 2020, right? So think back of 2017, what happened, what fated events happened for you? Well, it was to prepare you for 2020 and what went down during that time, right? Okay, so that's the solar eclipse. where it's like physically gonna happen to wake the Americans up. Okay. So the other thing I want to say is because I'll talk about it's activating the 51. What's the gate of shocks? It's the gate of shocks. So you want to really be in your core being, and not be you don't want to be, well, you don't want to be like the bamboo tree, like just go, what am I trying to say? You don't want to be the oak tree either, like too rigid. You want to be flexible in a sense, but really connected to yourself, like your higher self. Like that's your true core. To not leave that place, because that's where you're the safest, is when you're in your heart, and not to be so effective of what we will start to see in the external world, right? Because this is the final shakeup before 2027, so for people to make their choices in terms of their evolution. And it's said that we'll see two species, this bifurcation of consciousness. We're already seeing it, like a split. It's going to become more and more apparent, right? That's after 2027, when people are making their choices. And it's really easy, right? Am I going to make my choice with little g or big G? Big G. You want to be choosing big G, because that's the truth, right? Little g and AI in this artificial world, it's not true. It's not authentic. You always want to go to authenticity. That's your word. Okay. So let's look at this solar eclipse and the nodes. So if we want to go back, so we got some key events, right? So you want to get your journal out and write about 2017. What was going on for me in 2017? Right? What happened to get me to where I needed to go so I was ready for 2020? I moved, right? I moved during that time, so that was my big event. Like a massive move. So you want to, for the solar eclipse, let's bring some more dates in. And you want to look back to 2005 and 2006. So that was the last time that the nodes were here, right? In Aries and Libra. It was 2005, 2006. What was going on? For me personally, I left the JOB world. I totally left the JOB world in 2005, and then went on the journey of working for myself, working for God, really. I'm working for the divine. I'm not really working for myself. But I left the system. I left that system, the JOB system. So look back at that, right? And this was a massive change for me. So maybe you went through a massive change too in 2005 and 2006. So this is the weight. Do you know what I mean? This is the weight of what will be happening, like complete new chapter in your life, right? And we can all feel this. We can all feel this change is going to happen, and it's going to happen April 8th, the next 3 years. So you want to really be open, right? You really want to be open. So meditate on that and reflect on that. What was going on for me in 2005 and 2006? It's going to be a similar theme, right? It's going to be a similar theme. Um, okay. So the other thing I want to talk about, so the big themes for this solar eclipse are identity, right? Is identity, relationships, right? And change. And this is massive change for you, these three here. So I don't usually talk about Black Moon Lilith, but it made an interesting aspect, right? So it's trining Pluto. So trines are supportive energies, right? So Black Moon Lilith, this is like the mad woman in the attic. Remember that with Jane Eyre, if you took English literature in university, Jane Eyre, the mad woman in the attic, right? The and this is Black Moon Lilith. This is the dark feminine in a sense, and it's the repressed feminine. And she is angry. That repressed feminine is angry. So this really indicates where you have this dark energy within your natal chart, but it's making a trine to Pluto in the transit chart. And it's 2 degrees. And 2 degrees is powerful. It's a powerful degree point, and it's can't be ignored. You can't ignore it, right? So there's the woman, the mad woman in the attic coming down. She's like crashing through the door, and she's making herself conscious with the help of Pluto, right? And Pluto is the great excavator. Whatever has been buried and repressed in you, like this anger, is going to come to the surface for this solar eclipse. And this is a good thing, right? This is a good thing. This is like I can no longer talk myself out of my feelings. I can no longer repress my feelings, my addictions, everything, all my old ways of coping are not going to work anymore. This anger is coming through, and this anger is cloaked in truth, right? So it's that truth. The truth comes. You know, when you sometimes you get really angry, and you can just be on your own in solitude or in your car, and you just have this release of anger, but all this truth comes flying up with it, right? And it feels so good. It's like finally you get to the truth, right? Finally you get to the truth. So, and this is what else did I want to say about that too? It's about your self-value, right? Because it's a Taurus degree point. So it's about your sense of self-value too. And it's with Libra. So not valuing yourself in relationship, right? Again, selling yourself short. Um, okay. And the other thing is Black Moon Lilith activates the 46th gate. And remember that these, in terms of human design and transits, it's just the sun to Pluto. Chiron sometimes, but you need special software for that. So the 46 is here, and this is the G center. This is the your sense of self-love. So Black Moon Lilith, this gives us more information, and this is the love of the body. It's the love of the body or not, right? So it's hatred of the body, it's body hatred or love of the body because it's always a binary. Uh, so this is like in terms of relationship, it's like all the conditioning we received about what is beautiful, right? If you look at our magazines and our media, movies and stuff, what is beautiful? Uh, Putting too much focus on the appearance of the body and how it appears and what's beautiful. So Black Moon Lilith is going to bring up some anger around that. And maybe you have this dynamic in your relationship, like you feel ugly, that comes up, like that body dysmorphia comes up when you look in the mirror, right? Black Moon Lilith is going to bring up all those dynamics. Right? That I'm not attractive enough, blah, 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 or my partner's not attractive enough. And then really digging this up, like what is beauty, right? What is beauty? And it's all superficial, right? That's the shadow of Libra. Everything is superficial. There's no depth, right? Because true beauty is the soul. That's true beauty is the soul. It's not the appearance, right? Um, and this is actually a primary love theme because I'm doing this Aquarian relationship online retreat. There's 10 different ways. There's 10 different ways according to your chart that you're designed to love. You're designed to relate to another, right? And they too, according to their chart. So it's a great way to really look at like, oh, I'm designed to love someone this way. And I've been trying to do it this way because all the conditioning and the propaganda tell me I have to do it this way, but it's not me. So it brings you more into your authenticity. So the 46 is actually one of the themes. And what is it? It's not love of your physical form, it's love of being in the body. I love being in my body, right? I love being a soul in this body, in this vehicle. It's a different flavor than the appearance, right? And I love all forms, not just my special form, but because I love being in my body so much that I'm delighted. That's the gift. I'm in this frequency of delight, and I'm hugely magnetic because of that. And then I magnetize these people, and I can love others, all forms, whatever form that they come in. There's no ugliness. There's just beauty, right? The differentiation of all the forms. So I thought that was interesting that this is one of the love themes that Black Moon Lilith is bringing up to bring up the anger about that, right? Because the beauty industry is like a billion dollar industry, right? And there's so much insecurity, and that's what the forces play on, is our insecurity around our body and our sense of beauty, right? And then if you go to the ruler, right? So there's Black Moon Lilith and Libra, and what's the ruler is Venus. Venus is the ruler, and Venus is in the 17, and that's coming from the mind, and that's opinions. So your opinions about your attractiveness and your beauty, right? So opinions, and this could be right? A lot of this, because Chiron is in Aries, right? Remember, it's conjunct, right? It's 19 degrees. They're all together. That this wounding could go back to your childhood. And all it takes is, children, their weights fluctuate up and down as they develop, right? That's just natural and healthy. All it takes is like someone to come over and say, oh, your daughter's getting a bit chubby, right? And maybe you're like 3 or 4 years old, you're supposed to be chubby. And then suddenly you got this thing projected on you, and then you take it on. And then boom, you got an eating disorder, right? For the rest of your life. This is how these things can happen, right? So you want to dig this up. And they're connected to our relationships and who we choose. Because if you have this wound, you're going to choose somebody unconsciously that will bring up this trigger. So you'll choose people that are not attracted to you, right? To bring up this wound, right? To bring up this wound. Okay. So remember that I don't want to go too too deep into to this, because it is about the solar eclipse, but I feel like it's important. It's important to talk about. Um, so remember that our primary, because this is about identity, one of the themes of the solar eclipse is about our identity and our primary identity. So identity is the ego, right? So the ego it attaches to your name, it attaches to your body, attaches to your mind, it attaches what you do, right? Your role in relationship. That's just like Velcro. That's what the ego does. It just attaches to everything. And then as soon as you do that, then you've got to defend it. You got to defend that identity. And this is the falseness that we're letting go of, because your true identity is your soul. You're a timeless, eternal being having human experiences, but the ego's grabbed onto all these identities and you've believed them into existence, basically. Well, our primary identity when we're a soul and we incarnate is our bodies. That's our first attachment, right? So that goes with this the 17 and the Black Moon Lilith too in the 46. Okay. So it's about loving being in your body, loving being your body, and that it's a gift. And that's what human design teaches. It teaches about form consciousness, that there's actually wisdom within this body. And that's where your strategy and your authority come from too. Okay. So let's go into the 51, the 51 here. And I'll go down to here. So there's the 51. The 51.5. That's the star of the show with the lunar eclipse right there, the 51. And this comes off the willpower center right here. the 51. And it correlates to the Three of Wands, the tarot card right here. So I don't pick this intuitively, right? This correlates to the decan, right? Of Aries. So 51.5 in the Three of Wands. So this is the 51 is the gate of shock. It's the gate of shock, the 51. And it's the shadow of agitation, agitation. So a shock is something that's unexpected. Doesn't necessarily, like a shock could be a good thing too, right? It's something that stops you in your tracks and it breaks you out of your script. If you're on automatic pilot in life, not really awake, not present, not really noticing what's going on in the world, you're just in your head and fantasy. Well, shock can really like break you out of your script, it can shake you awake. That's a positive thing. But the shadow here is agitation. So the interesting thing here is it's part of the channel of initiation. And there's the 25 right there, right? The 51 and the 25. That's the channel of initiation. So it's using the willpower and then jumping into this higher self. And this is your sense of self-love right here, this one. And then it's the Three of Wands. So you can see him with the Two of Wands, if you know tarot. Two of Wands, he's got the globe and he hasn't really committed, right? He's just seeing all the potentials, the potentials. While the Three of Wands, he's grabbed onto the wand. So he's made a commitment, right? And he's looking into the future here. And this is about expansion. It's about opportunities. It's about being open to opportunities that come. So the commitment could even be like, I'm committed, that I'm moving forward. I'm moving forward. I'm leaving this behind. I'm leaving whatever this relationship behind, this job behind, this place of living behind. And then I'm waiting, right, for this opportunity to show up. So this is the 51. I'm waiting to jump into that 25, right? And can be a sacred journey, right? So it can actually be a physical journey, like maybe you'll be moving away, moving somewhere else, but it could be an internal sacred journey in terms of your spiritual journey. Um, and really interesting. I just did a quick tarot card reading before I logged on, and this was the energy that came up. Like, no joke. This is the card that came up. So exactly the Three of Wands, right? So this jumped out of the deck. So that's the situation we're in for this solar eclipse. Here's the obstacle. Do you see that? That's the Eight of Swords. And so this is about your self-talk. And then the advice, the action is the Sun card, the happiest card in the deck. Okay, so let's talk about this Eight of Swords. Well, this goes with Mars. Mars is the ruler of the eclipse because it's Aries. So Mars is the ruler of Aries. And then it's with Saturn, right? So they're together. Saturn and Mars are together in the 63. And that's up here in the crown. And this is doubt, right? So this is a challenge that we have. And that's what this Eight of Swords is about. This is all in your mind. This is doubting yourself. Can I do this? Will I be supported in moving forward? Will life support me? Right? It can be scary because the fear is coming from the unknown. Like this is the 51 is saying, right? The solar eclipse is we're about to move into the unknown territories. That can bring up fear. That can bring up fear. And that's natural. It's not wrong if you feel fear, but you can't let it stop you, right? So this is about doubting yourself. So it correlates with this Mars and Saturn energy too, right? But it's all in your own mind, right? Because really she's not trapped. She could take that blindfold off and walk through those swords. So this is all self-created. It has nothing to do with the external. So it's only you that stops yourself, right, from moving forward for this solar eclipse. So to watch that. And then this is the advice, right? So this is negative Nelly. Negative Nelly is the eight of swords. I can't do it, and this could go wrong, and that could go wrong, and victim thinking, and it's too big and I'm too little, right? How am I going to make money? This would be like the doubt. Oh, I doubt. I'm suspicious. I'm suspicious of this thing that's coming to me because solar eclipse is bringing something to you and a huge opportunity. You don't want to let the eight of swords stop you. You don't want that negative self-talk to stop you. You have to remember we're in the last epoch. We're about to go into a whole 400-year cycle. You want to embrace this. This is the divine child, right? This is the happiest card in the tarot, is the Sun card. It's major arcana. This is being optimistic, right? And so it's the fifth line. So it goes with the Sun card too. So the fifth line is all about getting your ego out of the way, right? The 51.5 is saying, get your ego out of the way. This is the Sun. This is getting your ego out of the way. And it's like, I'm a divine child. It's not my willpower that's going to take me through this shock, right? Through this shock, the shocking event, the shock in my life. It's the grace of God, right? It's the grace of God. It's the grace of the divine. This is surrender, like complete surrender. And that's what's going to get you through this portal. It's like you're about to move through a portal for the solar eclipse, and it's fated. So you have no control over this force. This force is so powerful. All you can do is surrender to it, right? And allow the grace of God and the divine to take you through that portal, right? And this is spiritual initiation, 5125. So it's taking you to a higher state of consciousness, basically, right? And it's expanding. So you don't want to go into the ego. Like there could be like a little shocks that happen in your life. And then you figure things out, right? And then the ego takes credit. Oh, I got through that. Well, as soon as you get into that mindset, then you'll be blindsided by a shock, like a real shock, right? So this is this eclipse. I would say even now until 1616, now until the solar eclipse, April 8th and onward, at least 40 days after that, that you go into this state of surrender. Like everything that's happening in my life is perfect. I'm not resisting anything, you know? Like yesterday when the power went out. Did my mind go into resistance? Why did that happen to me? And this always happens to me, like the victim talk. It was like, no, it was complete surrender. I guess this is how it's supposed to go. I don't know why, right? I have no idea, but there's a greater force at work, much, much greater than my little ego, right? So that's your big word, is surrender for this solar eclipse. Lunar eclipse, like tomorrow onward, right? And at least 40 days after. Okay. So that's the warning I have for you, is to get your ego out of the way. Get your ego out of the way. And this is what this if we go back to the astrology, like they're all exact. Like look at those 19, 19, 19. Chiron is 1 second away from the moon and the sun. That's it, right? So all of these three are together, and this is the wounding around identity. So we have to let go of a major identity that we believed into existence, and it's going to be related to our relationships, and it's some identity. So this spiritual initiation can't take place unless you get your ego out of the way. Okay. And just to remember that we're powerless and we have no control, and there's greater forces at work, right? Okay. What else? So it's about taking a risk. The 51 is about taking a risk, and it's about feeling that agitation, right? So the agitation you can feel in your body. This is like the if you really like tune in, like even now, where I'm feeling it. I've been feeling it for a week. This low frequency of fear from the collective, right? And this is this agitation. We know something's coming. We know something's coming, right? The shoe is about to drop, right? And to remember that it's a positive thing. Stay in the positive, right? That this is a good thing. This is a good thing. This has to wake up humanity. Okay. Um, so to deal with the doubt too, is really not to listen to your mind. And surrender is really surrendering your mind to your heart, right? So you don't want to be listening to your mind with its doubts and its fears. Just like I'm just going to surrender. I'm trusting. I'm trusting. I'm going to take this risk, right? This opportunity. Okay. So the other thing I want to say too is to be around water if you can during a solar eclipse is really healthy. So if you're not near like a body of water, like an ocean or a river or a lake or something, you could go in the bath water. It's a good idea to be in water during the solar eclipse. And this mantra, this is from the Kundalini Yoga tradition. This is the Mangala Charan mantra. Okay, so mantra, for people that don't know, is man means mind and tra means vibration. So it puts your mind into the vibration of the divine, right? So this is divine protection. So this particular mantra surrounds the magnetic field with protective white light. Okay. And so in terms of shocks, right? In terms of shocks, the yogis say, the ancients say that there's no such thing as an accident. There's no such thing as an accident, right? It's a collision of time and space. That's what an accident is. It's a collision of time and space. And so this buys you, when you chant this mantra, it buys you 9 seconds of time and 9 feet of space. And I've had the experience of chanting this, right, in my car. And with my own two eyes, I see this car coming right at me, right? And with my own two eyes, I see that car bouncing off my car. Like it made no sense at all, right? This is the power of this. There's people that have chant this every time they get into their car or even go out during the day. And it gives you that 9 seconds of time, nine feet of space. Okay. So these are ancient words. They're not just made up, 5 years ago. These are 5,000-year-old um, well, thousands of years old in the time of Guru Arjan. So it's Ad Gare Name, Shagad Gare Name, Sat Gare Name, Sri Guru Deva Name. So what I'll do is I'll Sanatam Kaur, if you know Sanatam Kaur, she's got a great version of this. And this is something that you could play, just on your phone, and you put it on loop or have it at your home during the solar eclipse and have this playing and bring this white light around you and your loved ones in your house and stuff. Have this playing. It comes with a meditation, but I mean, you could just be chanting this, and it brings peace and calm. I notice when I chant this myself. Yeah. So if you go to a Kundalini yoga class, it's the Adi mantra, Om Namo Gurudev Namo, and then 3 times the Mangalacharya mantra. Okay. So that and water. Okay. So that's what I have there. And then we can go into I want to see if there's any questions here. And then we'll go to the types. We'll go to the types. There we go. Okay. Uh, Deanna, she asks, I have two such in Mars and Venus with 51.6 and it's red. Is the red is the unconscious in your natal chart, right? So in human design, we have a binary consciousness. So the conscious side is the black side, and that's all your birth data. And then the red side is about 120 days after conception. And that's your form, that's your ancestors. Yeah. And the things that we're not conscious of. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'll get into the. Oh, I know. I can't really move my little window. I don't think it can move. I just want to check here. But it's called Mangala Charan. Mangala Charan. So I'm going to put a link down below after this, after I get off of here. And so you can link that. So you want to be listening to that during the solar eclipse, the Mangala Charan. Okay. Uh, yeah. Yeah, I've got the 51 twice in my chart, so I know the 51 very well. Okay. Okay. Okay, so some of the people here have the 51. Yeah. Okay. Oh, people went through big changes in 2005, 2006. That's great. So, yeah, and thank God we make those decisions, eh? Thank God I left the JOB world. And that's the thing, we've got to embrace this Aries energy, right? This Aries energy. And this is that it's correct for you to start thinking about yourself and putting yourself first. It's not selfishness. You know, in 9 years, the nodes will flip. The nodes will flip, and then the North Node will be in Libra, and that's when we bring our focus on the other people in our relationship. But right now, it's about you individuating and becoming your authentic self. Okay. So if you lead with anything, it's like I have to commit to be my authentic self. Um, okay. So let's go into that. Ooh, that's almost an hour, eh? Is that almost an hour I've been talking? Well, there's a lot to share. Okay. So what I want to do now is I'll go through the types and the types. Okay. Here. And I'll do the ego cards. Ego cards. I haven't done those in a while. So these are I call them the ego traps. The ego traps that we can get ourselves into. And so we'll talk about this for this solar eclipse. So the theme for the solar eclipse. Okay. 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 So this is for the generators out there who have the open and enveloping teddy bear aura. And they're part of the 70%, the generators and the MGs, and they're here to respond. So the solar eclipse is going to bring you something to respond to, but first you have to let something go. You got to give something up. For the lunar eclipse, maybe you haven't, maybe you have, but it'll be quite clear what you have to give up, generators. I'm picking an ego card, and then we'll look at the notes. Okay, so what do we have for generator friends for this solar eclipse? What do we have generator friends out now? We got two. Okay. 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 So there it is. Okay. So there's our generators. So we're talking about this 51.5. This is the solar eclipse, the sun and the moon and Chiron all together in the 51. And this is about making the leap. Solar eclipse is bringing you opportunities to respond to, generators. And you respond with your sacral, with the yes or no. Okay. So you don't want to go into doubt, right? You don't want to go into self-doubt or getting suspicious of this opportunity that's coming to you for the solar eclipse. This is life-changing and it's preparing you for 2027. So watch the beginning of my video if you haven't already to learn more about that. And so we have it in the sixth house for you. We have this in your sixth house. Okay, so in order to make that leap into this new state of consciousness, this is a spiritual initiation that you're going through. You've got to deal with the sixth house. Sixth house. So this is about your health, right? It's about your health. It's about your work, right? This is your day-to-day work is the sixth house. Right. So an opportunity's coming, but it's going to break you out of old habits, right? The sixth house is also about habits, right? And it's really about your health and your service. So needing to change, maybe you need to get out of the JOB world like I had to, right? Maybe it's time to put your shingle up. Maybe it's time to balance your work relaxation, work and play needs to balance out. And the solar eclipse is going to show you that, right? Show you that. Maybe bring to you a new health routine, a new health routine. Maybe you'll look at your health differently, right? Instead of just staying on the surface. Well, most people do this. They have a problem with their body and then they run into the doctor. They run into the experts, right? Instead of, and then what do the experts do? The mainstream experts, they give you a pill, right? They give you a pill. They don't really go to the root of the matter. So remember, generators, everything is spiritual right now. Everything is spiritual. This is how you have to put on your spiritual glasses now. You can't just stay on the surface of life and try to fix the external, right? Black Moon Lilith trying to just deal with the external, right? Stay on the surface, not going to the spiritual root. Because how does the soul get your attention with a shock? Well, the biggest one is your health and money relationships. The shock, my relationship's gone, shock, my money's gone, shock, my health goes. But this is the one that really gets us, right? Is when our health goes. So look at whatever problem you have with your body, whatever thing you're going through, generators, maybe it's starting to just come up during eclipse season, maybe in the last couple months. It's escalating, right? Maybe it's time to go deeper into the root. Like how is my soul trying to get my attention with this problem that experts can't seem to fix? They don't know what's wrong with me. Well, maybe it's time for you to go to the root, right? Maybe it's time for you to go to the root. Okay. And then the two ego cards you got, which are connected to your health, is people pleasing. That's totally Libra, people pleasing. And that self-love is selfish. So this is what the ego is telling you, right? In terms of your relationship. Well, you got to tell the other person what they need to hear. That's just my conditioning. That's how that makes me a nice person. And I see nice, right? People pleasing. Right. And then the ego is telling you that self-love is selfish. If I take care of myself, right? In terms of my health, in terms of my work and rest ratio, right? If I really look at this and start to change and shift it, right? Then that's selfish. You're being selfish, thinking about yourself, right? So you've got to deal with this, generators. You have to deal with this, right? That this is all BS. This is propaganda. This is our propaganda that it's wrong to love and care for yourself, right? And this puts you out of your power, puts you out of your power. And this is what's probably causing you the health problems, right? Not looking at yourself first and your own needs. Remember with Libra here, to let go of this. This totally fits with people pleasing and self-love is selfish, right? It's you're unable to identify what you need and want. Right. And there's your body showing you, I need to rest more. I can't be working like crazy, right? I think workaholism is in here too. Workaholism and staying busy. You need to let all that go for this solar eclipse. So if you do attract a shock to you, right? Don't go into doubt. Don't go into doubt, right? Go into like, what is my soul trying to communicate to me right now in terms of changes I need to make? And then make the changes. Just make the changes. This is taking you to a whole new state of consciousness, generators, right? And the best thing that you can do for the world is to love yourself. And to love yourself is to be your authentic self. That's what self-love is. And then you vibrate that out to the planet. That's the best thing you can do for the planet is to emanate this frequency of authenticity, right? With the generators. Like this machine, like we're treated like machines in the workplace. If you're in the job world, right? We're treated like machines, and that's not natural for us, right? That's we're part of this earth. We're part of this natural rhythm. There's a time for work and there's a time for rest, you know? And so generators are breaking us out of this, you know? I really see the generators and the manifesting generators like really transmuting that archetype of the slave. They're right, the slave to the external world, that someone owns your energy, right? You're taking back your power. You're taking back your power, generators and manifesting generators. So this is the best thing you can do for the planet, is to love yourself, and that it's not selfish. That's what the ego is saying. Selfishness is listening to the ego, right? That's what selfish is listening to the ego and not listening to your own higher self, right? In your own body. So it's time to embrace this now. Um, Anything else for that and make that leap. So you want to initiate something in the sixth house region, right? It's like I'm going to commit to love myself and take care of myself. And I'm going to let go of this BS that to love myself is to be selfish and I should be ashamed because I'm putting myself first, right? That's all your childhood stuff, right? Letting that go. Okay. What else? Is there anything else for the generators? Hmm. That I know what I wanted to say because it's really, with the 51, it's like you're walking into this new territory, territory, the unknown, and that it can bring up it's always the work. It's always you experience when you start to make real, like huge changes, the fear can feel overwhelming, right? That agitation can feel overwhelming, but you don't want it to stop you, and just to know that it's not as intense the second time, the third time, the fourth time, the fifth time. That's what I wanted to say. It dissipates. But the first, it's always because you're breaking through a morphogenic field, right? And it takes more courage, right? That's the word for the 51 too, is to be brave and have courage. Okay. Okay, so that's what I got for the generators. And that would fit with the Scorpios too, in terms of the zodiac sign, the Scorpio, sun, moon, rising. Yeah. But your work has to change. That's what the message is here. Okay. That's the generators, which is very exciting. And then let's go for the manifesting generators here. So they're 70% of the generator family too, but they're 35%. So MGs, we're talking about the 51.5. This is the solar eclipse, right? There's the sun and the moon and the north node are all in the 51. And this is about your awakening. This is about shock. It's the gate of shock. So watch the beginning of my video to learn more about this. But we're going to be picking some ego cards and then look at where this will take place for you. Give you some guidance here. Yeah. And so with the solar eclipse, there are fated events. Fated events. You have no control over them. And the 51 fifth line is really telling you to not use your ego, not use your ego, not use your mind, not use your willpower, but surrender. To surrender to the larger, greater forces. And it's a great force that's coming for the solar eclipse. And to let the grace of the divine carry you through this shock, whatever this shock is for you. And remember, shock is just an initiation into a new state of consciousness, a newer, greater, expanded state of consciousness for you. It's like you're getting an upgrade, MGs. Okay. So what do the MGs have to know for this solar eclipse? What's the ego? Ooh. Let's see, we've got another one. Just because the generators had one too. Okay. I'll do two. Okay. Okay. Oh, also, I didn't mention. If you go back, I mentioned about the mantra, the chant, and to be near body water, but also to be drinking water too during the solar eclipse. Okay, so this is taking place in the seventh house. In the seventh house. So that's MGs. That's your partnerships, right? So that's the partnerships. This is the other person. So with solar eclipses that can bring marriage, right? It can be marriage. It could be like an upgrade in your present relationship, or it could be a divorce, a separation with that. In any of your partnerships, not just your marriage partnerships, but it could be a business partnership or a client or something like that. There can be a separation or a, a, um, a transformation of a present. This is like a friend becoming a marriage partner, like something like that. It could be like an upgrade like that, or it could be a split, right? So this is with the seventh house and the solar plexus, you want to ask yourself your identity. Remember, we're talking about identity. That's a big theme because Chiron and the moon and the sun are all together, and Chiron is in Aries, and this is about your identity. So you want to look at your identity in the context of your relationships. Are you outer referenced, right? Or are you inner self-referenced? Self-referenced is my identity comes from inside me. Outer referenced is it's about them, right? I don't know who I am unless I'm in relationship, right? So I'm a spouse, a partner, a daughter, a son, whatever, but it's all about who I'm around, and that's where my identity comes from. So this is being outer referenced, and there's no power here anymore, right? You want to let this go. MGs. Um, okay. So with this, it's like it's calling you to show up differently in your relationships. Show up as yourself. And I can hear right now, well, I can't show up as myself because that other person won't like it. That other person will reject me. That other person will leave me if I show up as myself, right? But this is what's true. What's false are these other identities that you've created, right? To get along in your relationships. You want to let go of these false identities. And we all do it. I'm not blaming people. This is how we've been programmed. This is how we've coped in the world, but the world is changing. We're in the last epoch now. Um, okay, so this is the solar eclipse is showing you that you need to look at yourself differently within your relationships, right? So let's look at the ego cards. And of course, seventh house, we're talking codependence, we're talking people pleasing, right? So go to the beginning where I get talk about what you need to let go of, especially for the lunar eclipse on the 24th, 25th. So you got the stuck card. I'm stuck. That's totally a manifesting generator word. And generator word is I'm stuck, right? I'm frustrated. This is it, stuck. And then you got the control card right there, control. Okay, so stuck, the ego. And remember, I did the larger, the just a 3 card reading before I went live, and that's the obstacle, right? That's the 8 of Swords. That's the obstacle right here. And this is all self-induced, right? This is not has nothing to do with the external reality. It has everything to do with you, right? So you're putting that self-doubt, doubting yourself. You're the one that's listening to these thoughts of victimization. I can't, I can't, I can't. I can't fill in the blank, right? That's the 8 of Swords. And this is the stuck, right? And the stuck, it's a refusal to grow up, right? So there, the solar eclipse is bringing you the 51. It's bringing you something, an opportunity to respond to that's going to change your life. That's going to fast track your evolution. That's going to bring you into the being you were meant to be, right? In this lifetime, the thing that you signed up for. This is your sole purpose, right? In what's happening here. I don't want to grow up. I don't want to. This is the inner child refusing to grow up, right? These things happen to me. I can't, I can, I can, I can't. So this is an identity with family, with childhood abuse, right? So this would be that 8 of Swords too, right? And it's identity, right? So maybe you're not conscious of this. Maybe you're not conscious of this. It's deep within your subconscious mind. Well, I identify with my childhood abuse, right? These horrible things happen to me. These horrible things happen to me. And it's allowing the child to kind of take over, right? Take over you, the spiritual adult. And this keeps you stuck, keep you stuck, and you don't move forward. You don't respond. You don't take that opportunity. You stay stuck because you want someone else to look after you, right? And the thing with inner child work is that the inner child is that entity within inside you that never grows up. It's always there, and it's your job to heal it. And you heal it by listening to and attending to it yourself. You don't expect other people to take care of you. You take care of your inner child. And that's what your inner child wants. That's why it's insatiable when you do the codependence, right? On a partner. Let my partner needs to take care of my inner child. I'm not, this is all subconscious. Most people are not aware of this, right? That the inner child is insatiable because the inner child wants you, wants your attention. You're the spiritual adult to your own inner child, right? Um, so this is about letting this go for the lunar eclipse. Okay, bring that in. I'm letting go of this dynamic. MGs. I'm going to take care of myself emotionally now. I'm not going to depend on my partner, seventh house, right? I'm not going to depend on my partner. I'm not going to depend on even seventh house's all of these therapists to take care of me, right? And fix it. I need to do this work myself. And that means attending to my own emotions. That's what you're doing when you heal your inner child. It's like attending to your own emotional self. Okay, so this is what you're going to be faced with, the shock, and the shock's going to bring up this inner child, right? Because the inner child does not want to jump, right? Because where's the adult, right? Where's the adult? Well, the spiritual adult within you has to show up for that inner child. Right? And then control, right? So this is controlling your emotions, controlling your emotions. So this would be controlling your inner child, right? So this is what you learned as a child. I'm going to control my emotions by controlling my partner. My partner's bringing up these emotions. It's their problem. This is what the ego tells you. You wouldn't be angry if they didn't do this. So I'm going to try to control my partner to prevent them from doing this so I don't feel this. And the point is that those feelings are already inside you and it's just the trigger. It's a trigger, right? So if it wasn't your partner, it would be somebody else would be triggering it. It's still inside you, right? So to me, this is about letting go of control, showing up in new ways in your relationship, right? Showing up as a spiritual adult. I'm not looking to you to take care of me. I'm going to take care of myself, right? And then and I'm surrendering. I'm surrendering to the solar eclipse and where it's taking me. It's really easy, this right here. I know I'm on the other side of this. I totally understand these dynamics. And you can get through the other side, MGs. So maybe you're thinking, no, Michael, that's not for me. I'm just take a minute and go inside, right? And we all have these dynamics that we have to clear up. Okay. So this is going to the heartbreak of the child, right? So the child gets their heart broken. We all got our heart broken as children, right? And then the coping mechanism is I'm going to control these feelings. But what you do when you control the bad, like the sadness and the grief, and I don't want to feel that hurt, I don't want to feel that hurt again. You're also repressing the good feelings, the joy and the happiness and the aliveness, right? So with this solar eclipse is to let this go, right? So it's interesting here. You're showing up in new ways in your relationship. You're showing up for your inner child, right? And then at the same time, you're letting go of control. And only then can you let go of control, right? For this solar eclipse. Okay. But MGs, please go back if you haven't watched the beginning of this, and you'll learn more about this solar eclipse. Anything else for the manifesting generators or this solar eclipse? Mm. Oh, go back and listen to Black Moon Lilith. I talked about Black Moon Lilith trying Pluto, which is going to bring up these deeper, deeper repressed emotions. This is the mad woman in the attic, right? So it can bring up anger, like a lot of anger for how you've been in relationships, right? So it could be a really interesting time for you, really an opportunity to really heal and really reclaim all parts of yourself back, right? Okay. Okay, that's what I got for the MJs. Okay, so let's go to the manifestors here. And the manifestors. So they're only 9% of the world, the manifestors. So they've got the closed and repelling aura, and they're here to share or inform, and then they initiate. So this is a great time for you because this the gift of the 51. This is the solar eclipse is all about initiation. It's all about initiation. Okay, so when you're not informing, you're not following your strategy, then you're going to feel angry. And then when you do, you want to be at peace. And that's what will come to you is peace. Okay, so I'm picking some cards for the manifestor to talk more about the dynamics and guidance. So watch the beginning of the video because I give more guidance on what you can do for this solar eclipse. Good. Okay. Okay, so what do we have for our manifestor? Jumped up. Do we have two for our manifestor friends for the solar eclipse? What do they need to know? It's too many. We got one more. We have one more. Maybe just one. Oh, there we go. Not two. Okay. Okay. So we've got for the manifestors, we got the solar eclipse happening in the 8th house. And so for this one, you can look for Virgo too, if you're a Virgo manifestor. Virgo, Sun, Moon, or Rising. But for all manifestors, 8th house, right here. So there's the solar eclipse, the 51, the 51, the 51 in the 8th house, right? So this is about your identity, because that's a major theme, right? Is the identity, because we have Chiron. Chiron's not here, but Chiron's also in Aries in the 51. So in order to make this leap from the 51 into the higher self, you're being initiated into a new state of consciousness. This is like an upgrade, manifestors. You've got to deal with the identity. So the identity to let go of here for the 8th house is how other people value you, how others value me, right? My identity is related to how other people value me or not, right? So this is wasting time on proving yourself. You can prove yourself, especially if this is open, proving yourself, right? I have to make that other person value me, and only then can I value myself. So this is so this could be a somebody that with the 8th house is somebody that you share resources with, right? So marriage partner could be a roommates, right? Groups of people where you have a common, you're sharing your resources all together. It could even be a community, right? A community housing or something like that. To look at this because it's all about your relationships, these types of relationships, or a bank, right? Or little g too, that falls under here, the eighth house. That's value in terms of money. I can't get a loan. People, they don't value me. But it's really about how other people value me or not. And I have an identity. My ego is attached to that. They have, if they value me, then I can value myself. If they don't value me, then I don't value myself. Um, okay. And then you've got the end it card, the end it, and then the white knight, white knight. And these are the two. So this is trying to save everybody. Okay, so this could be I have to be the white knight, even if you're a woman, right? I have to save them. I have to save them. And then they'll value me, right? And then they'll value me if I save them, if I fix them. And remember, the lunar eclipse is walking away from the people that don't want to change. They don't want to be fixed, right? That's the lunar eclipse. So the same thing here, the same message, right? So this is what the ego is saying. Well, if I fix their problems, I make their problems go away, right? Then they'll value me. And this may or may not be correct for you. If this is not coming to you as a divine download, then that's not correct for you. That's you're not self. This is all you're not self. Um, and it's going into sacrifice, right? And sacrifice means I'm sacrificing a piece of my authentic self, right? For this other person or people. Okay. And then you're really keeping your focus. It's eighth house, right? It's eighth house. So this is deep. It's deep pain. It's deep pain. This is where all the traumas are, right? This is ancestral too. It could be like an ancestral wound being passed down to you. And it's an avoidance. You're focused on other people and you're avoiding your own inner work, right? And you can't carry people, right? It's like you're trying to carry people up the mountain and they don't want to be carried. They're kicking and screaming. As soon as you let them down, they let them off your back, they're running down the mountain, you know? And then the ended card, and this is you want to bail, right? So it's extreme manifestor. I want to be the white knight, right? I want to save them, or I want to bail. I want to take the exit door. I want to take the exit door, right? So either one or the other. That's what the ego is going back and forth, right? You need to save them, save them, save them. Oh, you need to get rid of them, right? You need to get rid of them, bail. But what you're avoiding is your own pain, right? Your own pain. So this is ego talk. You don't listen to any of this because it's not part of your strategy as a manifester. You're not listening to your mind, you know? And it's just about trying to get control of your own pain and your own suffering going back and forth like this. Okay? So it's dealing with the pain, dealing with your own pain, taking responsibility that this is me, these people, this dynamic is showing itself up because it's the eighth house so that I can just feel it, right? I can integrate it. And then I can make that big leap, right? With the 51. Then I can listen the divine downloads. If you're in the ego and mind, there's noisy. You can't hear your intuition. You can't hear the divine inspirations that are coming to you as a manifester, right? You're not manifesting. You're not in your power. You're not in your power, and you're certainly not in peace. You're going to feel angry. So if you're angry and depressed, remember there's something that's out of alignment that you need to let go of for this lunar eclipse, right? And then you can really initiate something with that 51, something new. This is solar eclipse. This is preparing us for 2027. Yeah. So it's letting go of these old identities, and the old identity is I'm the white knight. I'm the one that saves everybody, right? I'm the one in control, right? I'm the manifester. And even with your identity, don't even identify as a manifester. Don't even identify as your type, right? It's to let go of everything. Let go of everything so that you can really step into this new chapter, right? In your life. So anything else for the manifestors? Oh, yeah. And just to trust that each person is in the divine's hands, each person. We all have our own connection to the divine. And sometimes the greatest love that we can offer another person is to let them grow on their own, let them learn their lessons on their own, right? Let them walk on their own. It's like a child, right? If you're constantly have your child and you never let them stand up and make those steps by themselves, and you're always helping them, it's not empowering, right? It's not empowering for them. We all have to learn on our own. We all have to learn our lessons on our own. And those are the greatest lessons we learn when we're on our own. We have to really lean into our own strength, right? Of the divine. And remember that's 51. It's all about surrendering to the divine so that you can be initiated, spiritually initiated into the new. Okay. Okay, so that's what I got for the manifestors. And then let's go to the projectors. The projectors. This is your time, projectors. We're getting closer and closer to our time. I'm a projector too, right? It's 2027. This solar eclipse is preparing us for 2027. It will ripple for 3 years, right? So you've got the focused, absorbing aura. You're the guide, the teacher, right? To help others, to help the other types. So you want to be recognized by the other. They really see you, then they invite you, right? And then you help them and you feel successful. When you don't operate correctly, you can feel bitter and feel bitter. So there's the 51.5 right here coming off the willpower center, right there. And this is the solar plex, the solar eclipse is bringing us opportunities, right? Huge opportunities. It's bringing us an invitation. It's a projector, right? It's bringing us invitations into the new. So it's going to have a theme of relationships, and projectors are built to be in relationship. All kinds of relationships. Okay, so I'm going to pick some ego cards for the projectors. There. And we'll see, these are the ego traps, I call them. Ego traps, I call them. So the big theme for the solar eclipse is just to surrender. Surrender to these greater forces and where they're taking you. And who they're bringing you, who's coming into your field. Right? Okay. Okay, so what do we have for our projector friends for this solar eclipse? What do we have for it? Oh, that one. Okay. Let's see, we have another one. Okay. Okay. So the projectors have this solar eclipse happening in the ninth house. And that would be Leo. Leo rising sun or moon. This would apply to you too, but this is for all projectors, the ninth house. And so this is the ninth house is about optimism. It's about optimism. It's about faith. And remember, I did the 3-card spread. If you haven't watched it at the beginning, I did a reading, just a quick 3-card reading before I came online. And the advice is the sun card right there. There's a little projector riding the pony. That's you. This is optimism. This is you, the divine child on the pony, ready for this new adventure. It's the happiest card in the tarot. Oh, and it also connects to Leo. Isn't that fun? Yeah, because the sun rules Leo. Um, so that's the advice, to keep your mind open, free of doubt, right? Because Saturn and Mars are in 63, and that's doubt. So having doubt about your aura, doubt about your abilities. Will I be recognized? Will I be invited? Suspicious. There can be suspicion about who is coming to you, right? Are they true? Are they authentic? So this is real, excuse me, it's really about trusting your aura as a projector. And life has been molding you and shaping you, right? God's like the artist and sculpting you, right? Taking away what's not you, taking away who's not correct for you, all those things so that you're ready for this time. This is the last epoch. We're about to go into a whole new 400-year cycle in 2027. Okay. So this is the teacher. The ninth house is also the teacher, is the teacher, right? Spiritual teacher. It's connected to spirituality. It's intuition. It's intuition. It's prophecy. This is very spiritual in nature. And I'm assuming the projectors that watch me are spiritual, because that's how I approach human design too, is through the spiritual realm. Um, and plus we're going through the solar plexus mutation, right? There's that 25. That's the gate of spirit. 55. I have that. That's prominent in my chart. Um, so it's teaching, it's about inspiring people, it's about wisdom, sharing your wisdom as a projector. And projectors are very wise because they're always studying. And if you're not a projector, you should be studying and reading and getting interested in systems. And I think my challenge as a projector is to actually limit the number of systems. Somebody was bringing the anagram to me, which I know a little bit about. And I started reading it. It's like, no, I've got enough systems. I have astrology, I have human design, I have Kundalini yoga and meditation and the tarot. Like, no, I don't need another system. But I did the questionnaire just for fun, and it's totally aligns with human design. That's the thing with it's all one, right? It's all fractal. So if you go deep in just a one system, you find the truth of all systems. So I would say that too but to watch what the solar eclipse is bringing you, right? It's bringing you some kind of huge shift as a projector that's going to really help you to get that initiation, right? This invitation that's going to come. Okay, so let's look at the ego cards. Or who's your daddy? Who's your daddy card? And then the tit for tat card. So these are traps. And the who's your daddy card is basically, I'm going to listen. Am I going to listen to my mind and ego? And human design, I use the ego as part of the mind. That's how I look at the ego. It's part of the mind, right? So do I listen to my mind and ego, or do I listen to my intuition? Okay. Or we could say your authority, whatever your authority is. So I'm an emotional authority. So am I going to listen to my intuition comes through my emotions, right? For me, that's how I'm built. Am I going to listen to that or that? Right? Who's my master? So this is about a choice. Remember, the lunar eclipse is about making choices now, right? So you could see this as a relationship. Maybe you're not in like an external relationship, but you're in relationship with your mind and your intuition, and this is your soul, right? Am I going to listen to the voice of my soul or listen to my mind and my ego? And this is the not self, right? The not self for the solar eclipse. So this would be listening to doubt, right? Listening to because the mind can pick up on these doubts. No, I'm suspicious of that person. They're not, you blah, 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 blah. Well, you got to go to your strategy and authority Am I truly being recognized? Not with the mind, because some people know the language of human design, they know the language of spirituality, and they can use it to manipulate others, right? You want to go to, am I getting a visceral hit? That's what recognition feels like to me. I'm getting a visceral hit. I can feel it because they're opening up. They're opening up their energetic aura to me, their electromagnetic field to me. I can feel it. That's what a real recognition is, right? It's not just these nice sounding words that come at you, you know? So you want to trust that. And that I would say is like more your intuition that you are being recognized. And remember the ego and the mind do not want you in your power as a projector. They don't want you stepping up in leadership on this planet, right? You're the new leader as a projector. You're the new teacher, the teachers as a projector, because it's a humble position as a projector, because you really need the other type, especially the manifesting generators and the generators. That's who you're here to guide, right? And they need each other, the MGs and the Gs. They need the projectors too, as well. So this is a big test with the solar. So it's the gate of shock. So what will come in can be shocking to you. And this could be a good shock. Like, oh my God, I've never thought that this opportunity would come to me. Who, me? You must have the wrong person, right? And you're looking behind you, right? It could be that kind of shock. Like you're the deer in the headlights. You just freeze, right? Well, this is when you want to go into your strategy and authority. You want to really trust that and not yourself, not self and mind, because that will want to sabotage you, right? But it's fated. Whatever's coming for the solar eclipse is fated for you. Okay. So it's a test of your faith. It's ninth house. So this is your faith. It's a test of faith, whatever it is that's coming. And then you got the tit for tat card, and this is keeping score, right? Um, so that's another way to look at because we're talking about relationships too. If you feel that coming at you like you owe me something, somebody's giving you something and you can feel a big rope attached to it, that would be the tit for tat. Um, or you in your relationships. Yeah, that one's an interesting one, how that goes with the ninth house. Okay. You owe me tit for tat, keeping score, give the take. Unconditional love doesn't expect something back. Yeah, in terms of your relationships. I guess to get clean, right? Make sure that you're clean in your relationships. These are like your personal relationships. To just check in. Okay, I'm giving as a projector. I'm giving. I've been invited. I've been recognized. I'm giving, but is there a part of my mind and ego that's expecting something back? Right? So maybe you're not getting the recognition back. Maybe you're operating incorrectly with this tit for tat and you're trying to give. I want to give, but I'm not being recognized. Right? So I'm going to give until they recognize me. That's what it is, tit for tat. So I'm going to give with the hope that that other person will recognize me. They'll see how wise I am. They'll see how much help I can give them, right? But this will never come because it's not operating correctly. You have to be recognized first. And this is without giving anything. They'll just see you, right? They'll just completely see you energetically. And then they invite you and then you give. Do you see how it's backwards? So you got to watch that. Am I giving to get to be recognized as a projector? Right? Have I been invited? And sometimes I know this is challenging to just bite your tongue, right? that person is talking and you know, it's like, I totally see their dynamics. I see their patterns. I can so help them move out of their suffering. And yet they're not inviting me, right? And that's when you just have to bite your tongue, right? I'm just going to bite my tongue and wait and trust. And this is about valuing yourself, right? In the ninth house, in the ninth house. So the solar eclipse is going to help you to see, right? This is going to completely change your worldview, your worldview. Because if you're busy trying to help the people that don't want your help, then all your attention is going over there. And then the people that are destined, right, for you to help, they can't get near you. There's no access, right? You're just completely preoccupied with staying small, staying, this is like, it could be a dynamic of staying small, or the belief about yourself, right? Your belief about yourself as small. Okay. Anything else for that? For the 51. Yeah. It's just to wait, to trust that invitation's coming for the solar eclipse. And remember, this energy is getting us ready for 2027. So it's 3 years. It's going to have aftershocks for 3 years. Okay, so that's what I got for the projector. And then let's finish it off with the reflector. And they're only 1% of the world. And I love to hear from the reflectors in the comment section. 1%. So they're here to follow the cycles of the moon, right? That's their so this is your time, reflectors. You're going to be so in this eclipse energy, right? So we're talking about the 51.5 Aries, right? So if you want to learn more about this, go back to the beginning of the video and watch that. There's lots of good stuff in there. Okay, there's the 51. Okay. So I'm going to pick a couple ego cards, ego trap. I call them ego trap cards. Sorry for banging that. And we'll see what ego traps are for the reflectors. So they've got the sampling and resistant aura. They're here to reflect back the health. They're like the barometer of a group that they belong to. Okay. So what is our reflective friends? Wow, those like totally jumped out. I took no effort at all. Okay. So we've got the reflector, whoops, reflector in the 12th house. So this would also be Taurus. Taurus, sun, moon, or rising. Okay. So this would apply to you as well. So this is 12th house. So for all the reflectors. So you got the hide the heartbreak card, hide heartbreak card, and then you got the effects right there. The effects card. Okay. So we're letting go of an identity, right? So the 51 is the gate of shock, but it's part of the channel of initiation. So this solar eclipse is bringing some kind of shock. And the only way that we can move through this is like a portal. It's moving into higher states of consciousness is if we let go of this our ego, an ego identity, right? One of the your most powerful ego identity. And then that's the only way through. So this is really relying on the grace of the divine to carry you through, right? Carry you through this process, through this shock, whatever this shock is. It's initiation, right? It's initiation. So they have to let go of the ego. The ego can't go with you, right? And then it's part of the 12th house. So this is fantasy. Okay. So this right here, and it's solitude, right? The 12th house is solitude. It's a past life. It can be a past life identity. Right there, past life identity. But it's basically a fantasy because you already lived your past life. You're in this new incarnation. So some kind of fantasy identification has to go, and it has to do with the 12th house, and it's rooted in deception, right? It's rooted in deception. So, um, which you may or may not be projecting on others, right? This fantasy identification. Yeah, right. There's a whole other world happening inside you. And part of you believes that it's part of escaping too, escaping the world. And reflectors are so rare, right? They're not understood by others. So this would be make sense that this would come up, this fantasy, like a fantasy. Okay. So it's about hiding heartbreak. That's the ego card. So this is a way of avoiding, right? Avoiding heartbreak, avoiding heartbreak. So let's bring it back to the child, right? Because Chiron can represent a childhood wound. Hearts broken. We all get our hearts broken as children, and sometimes it can be so overwhelming that the child fractures in a sense and creates this fantasy world. Can create a fantasy world. And in the fantasy world, you're the one that's powerful, right? You're the one that's in control. You're the one that's the savior, right? The white knight. The white knight. Yeah. You're the romantic one, right? But it's all in your head, this fantasy world. But it kept you from avoiding this heartbreak, this heartbreak. So now it's time to let this identity go, right? To let this identity go. Um, and it can be connected to alcohol too. That's another way that we deal with broken hearts. If you look at any alcoholic or somebody that's addicted to alcohol, they're trying to heal their broken heart. That's what they're really trying to do is heal their broken heart with alcohol because it soothes the heart actually when it's broken. It's like they've done studies with this that if somebody loses a limb, the neurological patterns, they're the same as if someone has broken their heart, right? It's the same thing. It's like you lose a limb. It's a real physical thing. And then the alcohol helps soothe that, right? Soothe those neurological pathways, right? But of course, it comes with karma, and that's this, the effects, right? So the so it comes with karma of avoiding this heartbreak. Whatever you're using, right? Whatever fantasy that you're could be drugs too, right? The 12th house can rule that. It's all about escaping this broken heart. Um, but not seeing the effects, right? Not seeing the effects of this fantasy world. I'm living in this fantasy world, but I'm not seeing the effects, right? So the life will show you the effects. And the cause is you not being your authentic self because you're not your authentic self when you're in a fantasy world. This would be like AI, right? AI is just like I'm in this virtual fantasy world, right? But there's effects that come with that because I'm out of my power. I'm out of my power. So this would be like things breaking down in your material realm or things going awry with your relationships, or maybe you're not in any kind of relationships, reflectors. You're too busy in this fantasy world, and the effects is like nobody's around me. It's a way of dealing with your loneliness, right? Your loneliness. But really it goes, I want to take you right to the cause, and that's your child self, right? That I listen to the manifesting generator. Yeah, the manifesting generator one as well. And this is your child self, right? This is the origins of this 12th house. Yeah. And also, I mean, if you're, because it's in the 12th house, that's beginnings and endings, that it could be like a past life, because this is incarceration too. Or if you were living in some kind of ashram or temple, past lives, being um, removed from society, basically, that would be the 12th house. That could be bleeding through this lifetime too. Yeah. But I mean, you can't go there. The best way to go to your past life is just to go to your to your child self, and just bring this into your awareness. And the solar, say solar flares. So the solar eclipse will show you that, this dynamic. Okay. Okay. Anything else for the reflector? I like the reflector because I feel like it's like a wrap up of all the other types. Like I feel like all the other types can relate to this one as well. Yeah, that this is a time to be sober, right? This is really a time to be sober and not in fantasy. Yeah, is to be um in your in yourself, right? We're here for this time. This is an important time in our human history, this eclipse season, right? We'll look back at this time and it's like, holy, right? The world that we're moving into. Okay. Okay. So that's what I got for the reflectors. And just a reminder, the Aquarian Relationship Online Retreat coming up next weekend. And you'll go, and people that have attended before go through huge change, including myself. A mutation, because I'm a pure individual. So I'm all about mutating. I'm the right angle cross the contagion, right? And so this comes with Kundalini yoga and meditation too. It's a really tight container, Friday night to Sunday. And then this is like the ego can't escape. It can't escape this energy. And this is when you can really start to make changes. So this is about you individuating and then learning. It's about learning about yourself, how you're designed to love another, how you're designed to love another. And we're all different. We're all unique according to our charts. So the great thing about this online retreat is you can have your partner's chart. You can have your child's chart. You can have your business partner's, your friend, your close friend's chart. And you can see, oh, this is the way they're designed to love me, right? Some people, and then look at them together. And then sometimes some people are not designed to do talk therapy and talk it out. It won't work. It doesn't bridge the gap. It actually causes more separation and stress and struggle. Sometimes that couple, they need to go out on a hike. They got to go do some physical activity, and that bridges them both together. But it really depends on your chart. So you'll learn things like that and how you're designed to love. Oh, this is how I've always been like this, but I've criticized myself for it, or my partner criticized this for me, but this is how I love. This is how I show that I care, right, to another person. And then you'll look at what your primary evolutionary lesson is in terms of your relationship. And you'll keep attracting these relationships until you get it. So it's really about bringing in the right, correct relationships for you. And then you'll see the pitfalls. Oh, this is why the not self has been choosing these other people, right? Because we're like puzzle pieces, right? And sometimes we just don't fit together and we're trying to fit together and it's not correct for us. So as soon as you learn about you as a puzzle piece and that means being your authentic self, then you start attracting the right people. And it's pretty amazing when you look at it. Like I've looked at it myself. It's like, oh my God, look, it's like the perfect puzzle pieces coming together without me really doing anything other than committing to my authenticity, right? And then you start attracting people in. So I'm really excited about sharing this information. And remember, you own the online retreat, so you can go back. Well, I'm not in a relationship now, but then a year later you are after the solar eclipse, and then you can go back and like, oh, okay, right? It's there. It's like having a bunch of webinars, right? So keep that in mind, and I hope to see as many people as I can because the more energy, right? Remember, I'm a projector, so you're investing in me through your money and your time and your energy, and then I can work with that, right? I can work with that energy. And we got a good group so far, and it's small. It's never over like 21 people, right? So I have time to really look at individual charts too. Okay. And then there's the next week, there's an integration meditation. So you're not just left on Sunday night, you come back, right? So you're held for an additional week. Okay. Anyway, I got information on my website about that, and I hope to see you then. But I'll probably in my next video talk about this solar eclipse a little bit more too, because there's more to share. Okay. So don't go into fear and listen to that mantra that I'm going to put in the link in the information box below. Okay. So namaloha, everybody. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Okay.